Hey guys, what's up? My name is Alyce. I am Exiled Power's healing priest. I am back with another Legion dungeon video. This one is for the Maw of Souls. A couple things before we start is number one, this is beta, so things are subject to change. Please keep that in mind if you're watching this video at a later date that there may be some differences. Also, I am doing this on heroic difficulty, so please be aware that if you're doing this on mythic difficulty, the numbers will be different and there may be some abilities that change as well. So the Maw of Souls. While the greatest Vrykul warriors are spirited away to the halls of valor, to glory eternal, shiny and gold, the cursed and the damned find themselves on the shores of the Maw of Souls. Amidst fog and mist, they await the Naglfar, a fearsome ship formed from sinew and bone, which comes to deliver these poor souls to Helheim and the clutches of Helya. As you can see, it is mostly undead Vrykul. So the first boss you will recognize from Wrath of the Lich King, actually. This is Ymiron, the Fallen King. Ymiron, one time king of the Vrykul of Northrend, was a mighty warrior held in awe by his people. The gates of the halls of valor awaited him in the afterlife. But, hungry for more power, he struck a dark bargain with the Lich King. When adventurers struck him down, he found the eternal halls closed to him. And so, the damned king waits in purgatory on the shores of the Maw of Souls.
Beware.
He does have 4 abilities. The first ability is Dark Slash. He strikes his target from beyond the void, inflicting 1,121,600 shadow damage. That is a tank-only ability. His second ability is Screams of the Dead. He lets out a bone-chilling scream, inflicting 460,000 shadow damage and fearing enemies within 12 yards for 5 seconds. His third ability is Winds of Northrend. He blasts enemies with a frigid wind, knocking back all enemies and inflicting 239,300 frost damage. And his fourth and final ability is Bane. He surrounds the caster with swirling essences of Bane over 14 seconds. Touching the essences of Bane inflict 598,200 shadow damage to the triggered target and an additional 52,300 shadow damage to all enemies. With that ability comes Arise Fallen, converts any remaining essences of Bane into risen warriors, inflicting 115,000 shadow damage to targets within 3 yards when summoned. And the skeletons actually have Vigor, which increases the damage they do by 10% periodically, and the effect stacks. So as you see here, those purple orbs that are floating around are the essences of Bane, and because we were dodging most of them, all these skeletons came up. All in all, boss is fairly easy on heroic. So we actually kind of get confused here as to where to go. Well, actually, you'll see we'll run down back the way we came and then come back. You actually just go up and click on that horn that is up there to continue on through the dungeon. It's not really apparent. So yeah. Once we do run down here and back up, we kind of figure that out. And as you will see, once you click on the horn, you will be teleported to the ship itself. This dungeon only has 3 bosses in it, so there is a fair amount of trash, especially in between this boss and the next one. I think we had about 5 to 6 minutes of trash. So as you see, you are in a cage once you are teleported to the ship, so you do have to click on that to get out. And we were waiting on our tank here to do that. So I would like to talk about discipline a little bit while we are doing this trash. I know there are a lot of posts on the forums, whether they be the BattleNet forums or MMO Champion, or whatever other forum that you may use. There's a lot of things saying that discipline is bad. And I have to actually disagree with that. I know I am a little biased because that's what I am playing, especially in all of these. Mostly that is for practice. So
Beware.
it is a different way to heal, first and foremost, and it takes planning. You have to know what is going on in the fights, and if you are not aware of, the timing of abilities and how much healing you're going to need to put out, you're not going to do well. With that is if your group is taking unexpected damage, or somebody messes up and does massive AoE to the group, you do not have a catch-up mechanic as Disc. Disc strength is in kind of burst healing things that are going to happen. So bosses you have deadly boss mods running, their ability is coming in 10 seconds. You set up a bunch of atonements on everybody, damage happens, you penance, you Light's Wrath, and everybody gets healed up. And it's massive healing in that short period of time. So you just have to be aware of the setup for that. Now, in dungeons, it is slightly different because there is only 5 players. I'm actually running Grace in the level 100 talents, which is the talent that increases your non-atonement healing, so that does increase my Shadowman healing, which I actually don't have to use that often in this dungeon because I have a good tank. There's fairly good DPS. These ads here do get a little hairy because there's a lot of AoE damage, and I had never done this dungeon, so I was not aware of it. But as you see, I'm not having that hard of a time. I apply atonement to everybody and heal them back up. Now in the level 15 talents, I am actually using Castigation. I know in other videos I said I was using the Penitent. However, I wasn't using Penance on my party that often, so it was kind of a waste. So the extra penance tick on mobs actually translates into more healing for me, since I was using penance on the mobs anyway instead of on my party. So another thing when playing Disc is don't be afraid to use Power Word Radiance. You basically get 3 atonements out in less time than it takes to cast Plea 3 times. And yeah, if you're trying to get them out on your entire party, Power of Radiance is the way to go for 3 of them, since I usually have a shield up on the tank, so the tank always has atonement anyway. After that, you can plea 1 party member and then Power of Radiance, and it's going to get the other 3. That way you have it up on the entire party when you know there's going to be some big AoE that's coming. Another thing is, for dungeons, I am going for haste and crit. Basically, haste lets you get more atonements out, and it also obviously lets you cast faster. And then crit makes you do more damage, which increases your healing as well. Mastery is just your atonement healing, so it doesn't increase your damage along with the atonement healing, so that one's kind of weighed a little bit lower than that. And please keep in mind, I am not a theory crafter, so this is all from a little bit of personal experience, and also from talking to people that are actually good at theory crafting, so please take that with a grain of salt as well. So we will be coming up on the next boss here, who is Harbaron. He is a mysterious ferryman of souls standing at the helm of the Naglfar, gathering the damned and bringing them to Helya's domain. His connection with the fallen queen of the Valkyr is unclear, but when the breeze catches Harbaron's cloak, an expanse of shimmering stars unfolds beneath. Strange. So, he has 4 abilities. The first is Fragment. fragments a target's soul into pieces, stunning them for 3 seconds. Each fragment inflicts increasing shadow damage every second to the target. This effect lasts for 2 minutes or until all fragments are defeated. So it looks a little bit like Kil'jaeden in Sunwell there. You know, they just kind of spawn around you and you kill them. His second ability is Shackled Servitor. And those are actually the ads there, and their ability is Void Snap. They create a ripple in the void at their present location, inflicting increasing shadow damage to all players. His third ability is Cosmic Scythe. He creates a cosmic fault line in a targeted direction, inflicting 336,500 arcane damage to any enemy struck. And his last ability is Nether Rip. He conjures a rip the twisting nether at a target's location for 30 seconds, immediately inflicting 287,600 shadow damage to enemies within 4 yards of the impact point. This additionally defiles the ground, inflicting 86,000 shadow damage every second. Also, as you saw there, I actually ended up getting a Titan Forged piece that is 855, which I believe is above the normal raid tier. So until raids are out, it is not possible to get it Titan Forged that high. It's not my ideal stats, but you know what? I will take it. So as you can see, we are making our way to the front of the ship. You do not have to kill all of the trash. As you see, we're going to skip this trash that's over on the left here. So I will go ahead and start talking about the boss because she does have several abilities. I did DC during this trash, so we will fast forward through that part as well. So Helya is the final boss. She is the fallen queen of the Valkyr, once Odin's right hand, raising the spirits of Vrykul champions to the halls of valor to prepare for the final battle for the fate of Azeroth. But following Loken's betrayal, she was persuaded to join him and turn upon her master. She now lurks in the shadowy realm beneath the world, plotting her revenge. She actually has 2 phases. So in the first phase, she has tentacles that are grasping the ship. So Helya's first ability in phase 1 is Taint of the Sea. She taints a target, inflicting 32,000 frost damage every second for 21 seconds. When this aura is removed, the taint explodes, inflicting 127,000 frost damage to all players. The tainted essences are spawned when you dispel this debuff. They inflict 805,000 frost damage to enemies within 5 yards. She also has Brackwater Barrage. She fires a massive barrage of frost energy, inflicting 805,000 frost damage to enemies struck by the barrage. And she also has Piercing Tentacle. Helya's tentacle pierces the bottom of the Naglfar, knocking back nearby targets. After 3 seconds, the tentacle inflicts 748,000 nature damage to players within 6 yards, knocking them back. Okay, we're back. So, in the first phase, she does have 2 different kinds of tentacles. She has Destructor Tentacles and Grasping Tentacles. Defeating either of these does damage to the boss itself. The Destructor Tentacles have 2 abilities. The first is Rapid Rupture. It lashes out at a target, inflicting 97,000 physical damage 3 times and bleeding the target for an additional 8,000 physical damage every half second for 6 seconds. The effect stacks. Second ability is Smash. Smashes the Naglfar when there are no targets within melee range, inflicting increasing 112,000 physical damage, increasing in damage by 25% per cast. The Grasping Tentacles do not have any abilities listed. So she does have an intermission when she is submerged. After several of Helya's tentacles are defeated, Helya submerges under the waves and assaults the Naglfar from below. On subsequent phases, Helya periodically submerges. During the submerge phase, she has Piercing Tentacle, which pierces the bottom of the Naglfar, knocking back nearby targets. After 3 seconds, the tentacles inflict 748,000 nature damage to players within 6 yards, knocking them back. She also has Turbulent Waters. The turbulent waters of the Maw of Souls sometimes spew orbs of muck, inflicting 195,500 frost damage to enemies within 2 yards of each impact location. So after that submerge, she does go into phase 2. She has 4 abilities in phase 2. The first is Corrupted Bellow. She bellows forward, inflicting 373,800 shadow damage repeatedly to enemies in a frontal cone for 3 seconds. You do need to move out of this. It is a lot of damage. The second is Torrent. Conjures a torrent of watery globules which pelt the Naglfar, inflicting 449,000 frost damage to all targets. Next, she does still have Taint of the Sea during this phase, so you do need to be aware of that as well. And her fourth ability during this phase is Wing Buffet. Buffets the Naglfar when there are no targets within melee range, inflicting 373,800 physical damage, increasing in damage by 15% per cast. So this is a pretty interesting fight, especially since there's a couple phases for a dungeon boss. Healers do need to be aware of the debuffs. I actually got a little bit behind during this, and it does get pretty difficult to keep up with it if you're dispelling them at the wrong time. But if you can get that down and everybody, DPS is the right targets, doesn't get hit by stuff they shouldn't, should be a pretty simple fight otherwise. So, as you could see there, her health was only at I want to say 80% or 75% when you do end up killing her. So, don't be fooled by the health bar like I was. So, if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel below. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments there and I will answer them as best I can. You can check us out on exiledpower.com, and thank you for watching.